Israel's losing support amongst European allies. Your own former Prime Minister has accused Israel of carrying out war crimes. There are hostage families protesting on the streets of Tel Aviv. Are you feeling the pressure now to stop bombing?
We will not finish the war leaving behind 58 people. There are families waiting for them, and we are committed to finish this war by making sure the hostages are back and Hamas is out of the game.
Can you talk about what happened yesterday at the Gaza humanitarian aid site?
We don't run those centers. We provide security for the surrounding area. As for yesterday, it was the first day. There were a few riots. It took the American teams some time to take control of the situation, but I can say it out loud, we didn't shoot anyone over there. There were reports about helicopters shooting people and those kind of things. It didn't happen.
Not even warning shots?
No, not by us. Not by us.
Ambassador Kristen Salumi from Al Jazeera English. One of the speakers we're expecting to hear from at the meeting today is an American surgeon who's been in Gaza and has written and spoken publicly about his experience there, saying that he witnessed children deliberately targeted and shot, often in the head during the ceasefire even. How would you respond to the allegations that he's raised?
I agree with you. There is suffering in Gaza, but the blame is on the shoulders of Hamas. Hamas that started the war, and Hamas that is not willing to lay down their weapons and release the hostages. So there will continue to be suffering until Hamas will understand that they will not stay in Gaza.
Children are supposed to be protected. In Gaza, these protections are simply gone. Every day, the distinction between combatant and civilian is erased. Most of my patients were preteen children, their bodies shattered by explosives and torn by flying metal. Many died. Those who lived often awoke to find their entire families gone. Last year, I published in the New York Times a survey of 65 American healthcare workers who had served in Gaza. 83% of them reported seeing children shot in the head or the chest. I personally treated 13 such cases in my 2 weeks at European Hospital. According to the War Child Alliance, nearly half of Gaza's children are suicidal. They ask, why didn't I die with my sister, my mother, my father? Not out of extremism, but out of unbearable grief. I wonder if any member of this council has ever met a 5-year-old child who no longer wants to live. Family, health, and community have been shattered. The medical system has not failed. It has been systematically dismantled through a sustained military campaign that has willfully violated international humanitarian law. Civilians are now dying not just from the constant airstrikes, but from acute malnutrition, sepsis, exposure, and despair. Between my 2 visits to Gaza, I witnessed a sharp decline in patients' health, driven not just by injury, but by worsening hunger and malnutrition that left their bodies weaker, their wounds slower to heal, and their survival far less certain. And let's not forget, this is a man-made catastrophe. It is entirely preventable. Participating in it or not, allowing it to happen is a choice. This is a deliberate denial of conditions necessary for life: food, shelter, water, and medicine. Preventing genocide means refusing to normalize these atrocities. It means refusing to dehumanize the Palestinians, to refuse to see them as calories counted or numbers of trucks moved. We see now that this way of thinking has brought about a human dignity crisis with an entire people on the edge of survival. I am here because I have witnessed what is happening in Gaza with my own eyes, especially to children, and I cannot pretend not to have seen it. You too cannot claim ignorance. I urge the Council, and especially my own government.
The Middle East region is undergoing a seismic transformation, marked by volatility, but also by opportunity if seized and supported. Its people demand a future of justice, dignity, rights, and peace. There can, however, be no sustainable peace in the Middle East without a solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and security. This was undeniably shaken by the horrific terror. Since the resumption of hostilities in Gaza, the already horrific existence of civilians has only sunk further into the abyss. This is man-made. When speaking of our fellow human beings in Gaza, words such as empathy, solidarity, and support have lost their meaning. We should not become accustomed to the number of people killed or injured. These are daughters, mothers, young children whose lives have been shattered. All have a name, all had a future, all had dreams and aspirations. Since the collapse of the ceasefire in March, civilians have constantly come under fire, confined to ever-shrinking spaces and deprived of life-saving relief. Israel must halt its devastating strikes on civilian life and infrastructure. The entire population in Gaza is facing the risk of famine. As the Secretary General has said, families are being starved and denied the very basics. On May 18th, the United Nations was informed by the Israeli authorities of the approval for the resumption of limited aid entry into Gaza. Since then, very limited numbers of goods have entered and have been distributed by the United Nations and its partners. But this is comparable to a lifeboat after the ship has sunk. The United Nations, including UNRWA, will continue to provide humanitarian assistance based on the principles of impartiality and neutrality. We have a plan in line with international humanitarian law and Security Council Resolution 2720. We remain committed to engage with all parties to implement this. We cannot, as has been stated often, participate in any mechanism that violates humanitarian principles. And allow me to reiterate that aid cannot be negotiable, and there can be no question of forced displacement. Civilians in Gaza have lost hope, Mr. President. Instead of saying goodbye, see you tomorrow, Palestinians now say, see you in heaven. Death is their companion. It's not life, it is not hope. Palestinians in Gaza deserve more than survival. They deserve a viable and vibrant future. The taking of hostages on the 7th of October by Hamas and other Palestinian armed groups. The upcoming high-level international conference in June, co-chaired by France and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, presents a critical opportunity. It must not be another rhetorical exercise. It must launch a path towards ending the occupation and realizing the two-state solution. Two-state solution disappear. Let us be the generation that chose